Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right, great. I can go ahead and tell you that I will epically fail on the shot clock, but I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and I'm actually going to start with a little clip that, that demonstrates something that I'd like to share with you guys.
Not a role model. I'm not paid to be a role model. I am paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court. Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I should raise your kids.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Charles Barkley for making an appearance just before me, so thank you very much. Now, who remembers this commercial from back in the day, right? It was pretty powerful, pretty controversial, but it was really funny to me at the time, but it changed its meaning entirely when I became a father. As terrible as it might have seemed, I realized that I was going to have to raise my kids on my own without Sir Charles' support. But when he said role model, what I heard was leader. It really changes for you, and it sinks in and hits you almost immediately when you hold your children for the first time. It's that immediate sense of love and responsibility that you have, and what I didn't realize was that I was having a little moment of leadership right there in front of me. I also didn't realize that what my vision and perception of what it meant to be a leader was going to change forever. Yeah. This is Isabella and Gabby, and I had that little moment of leadership. But, it was that moment that flashed in front of my eyes, and it changed. You see, I'd long been told that leadership was either a skill that you had or you didn't. It was innate, and it was inside of you. And I truly believed that when I was younger because I'd so often found myself in positions of leadership, whether it was in class projects, on the athletic field, into college, when I was in fraternity leadership or student government leadership, and into my career in people management, and now into program leadership. But as I become a father, I couldn't disagree with that more, because I see and I witness my daughters build and develop the skills of leadership in front of my eyes every single day. And it's reinforced by several of the people that are in this room. And I appreciate every one of you for doing that. Being the father of two daughters has me exceptionally passionate about this as well, because of the sad reality that they face as they continue to grow if we don't facilitate some much needed change. In 2015, the New York Times released a story that shared that the S&P 1500 companies actually had more individuals in CEO roles by the name of John than there were women at all. That's pretty troubling, right? And I should find that a little bit exciting, because for those of you that don't know, my first name is actually John. But it's disturbing, right? It's even more disturbing when you take into consideration the impact that gender diversity has on the performance of companies when they're put into place. In 2017, just last year, McKinsey released a study that showed that in Fortune 500 companies, those that had gender diverse executive leadership teams were actually 21% more profitable and 27% higher value creation than their fourth quartile peers. Making sure that our sons and our daughters are prepared with the skills of leadership as they move forward into the future will ensure that our world is a better place and they are prepared to take on those tasks. But this isn't a talk about just making sure that our daughters are having the opportunities. It's about making sure all of our kids have those leadership opportunities. So how do we do that, right? How do we reinforce and build the skills in our kids? Well, I also suffer from ADD, like somebody else said back here. It's been undiagnosed, but my wife will confidently tell you that I do have that. And I neglected to bring the checklist that I was going to pass out to everyone tonight. So no, I'm just joking, right? There's no checklist. The answer to that question is twofold, right? And it's the same answers that you have, that we ask as parents of a lot of how we raise our children. Number one, it depends, and number two, it's different for every child. But what I can tell you confidently is that our children need a catalog of experiences. They need leadership examples to be able to refer back to, so that when the opportunity presents itself, they can refer back to it and pull that out of their catalog. I've got a few that I'd like to share with you tonight. The first one, it's of my father. He's here tonight. Thank you for being here, Dad. It's actually more of a vision, and you guys can see it here. He's got those awesome Ace coaching shorts on, the calf-high athletic socks, and the mesh trucker hat with the logo emblazoned on the front. What you can't see in this picture is that he wore that with pride. You also see to the left a picture of myself, and that vision actually inspires me. It inspired me because he was there. He was present, he was involved, and he was engaged. He was supportive and encouraging, but he was also appropriately challenging when he needed to be. And I appreciate that very much. His example is the reason I stand on the sideline today, supporting Isabella and Gabby and coaching both basketball and soccer. I know the time is coming when I won't have the opportunity to do that any further, and I'll move up into the stands and I'll be that annoying dad, right, that yells too much and probably gets kicked out of a game or two from time to time. But no, it's definitely that memory that comes. But what I hope is that, and what I believe is that I'll have given them some examples to refer to in their catalog of leadership. The next example is actually an individual that many of you may know in this room, Vi Girding. For those of you that don't, Vi was the cafeteria lunch lady at Highlands who cared about the students so dearly that she would pass up almost no opportunity to hug a child, to be at almost every activity she could, and send $5 of her own money to every student every year at graduation. It didn't matter that her kid wasn't there anymore. She did it because it was for the greater good. She cared about the greater good so much that she was there. The little side road next to the school is actually named after her, and I think appropriately so, because quite honestly, I can envision and close my eyes and witness her walking back and forth up that street on her way to support the kids that she cared about so much. And it's that vision, that memory, and that log in my catalog that I refer back to that inspires me to be involved inside these four walls here at Woodville. And Rebecca's been a great partner in this. My wife and I do everything we can to support our children here, whether it's Rebecca's involvement in the PTO, room parent coordination, volunteering in the cafeteria here, or my own involvement as the Boosters president, Watchdogs program, or the Junior Achievement program. We are passionate about making sure that not only Isabella and Gabby are supported, but the broader Woodville community and the greater Fort Thomas community are all supported. Ultimately, we want to make sure that our children see the example that we set forward. Give them those entries into their catalog of leadership to be able to refer back to. The last memory that I'd like to share is also of my parents, and it's a statement that they used to make. And they always used to say, and I remember it pretty vividly, that they wanted to be able to provide for me and my sister more than they had growing up themselves. I think that's a pretty common theme. I think as parents we say that pretty often. And they certainly did that. I can't thank them enough for all of the opportunities that I was given. But as I've become a parent myself, I've adopted that and started to take a look at that through a slightly different lens. You see, at work, when I begin a project or a program, there's an expectation that I'm going to leave it better than I started, right? And there's measurements of success throughout. The key performance indicators that tell me that I'm doing a good job. So when I had that little moment of leadership on April 17th, 2008, and I had Isabella in my arms, what I didn't realize was that Rebecca and I were starting on a parenting project, and that we ourselves were the key performance indicator. We were the measurement of success, and our goal was to create a better version of ourselves, and ultimately better leaders. So in conclusion, I'd like to wrap up with a challenge really quickly. We started one recently at home, and I hope you'll consider it as well. Swap out your conversation at dinner for 2 seemingly simple questions. First, how were you a leader today? And second, who did you see exhibit the traits of a leader today? I bet if you do, your experience will be pretty similar to what we've had. It's pretty funny, actually, when we started this conversation, the girl started to share a lot of examples of what it means to be a really good follower. And they are great followers, that's for sure. But they're also good leaders, right? Through some coaching and some conversation and some dialogue and some examples, they started to bring home really, really strong examples of what it means to be a leader. It sounded like Miss Sipple told me that I was really prepared when I stood up in front of the class today. She could tell I was confident. Senorita Turner told me that I was a great leader today because I turned in my project early because I knew I was going to have conflicts later on in the week with going to Quest. And something as simple as Lily held the door open for the entire class without being asked. Those little examples are the beginning foundation of the catalogs that they're building, right? They're the examples. So, again, in conclusion, my ask of you, be an agent of change. Help to make sure that not only our sons, but also our daughters have the skills and abilities to be able to step into the roles and leadership of the future. You can do that and support them and help them build those skills of leadership by, I have to throw credit to one of my little leaders, Isabella, last night, informed me that by saying that they were present, involved, and engaged, the acronym was PIE. She really likes dessert. But yes, be present, be involved, and be engaged, right? Not just in attendance, but be active, right? Be a person who provides feedback. Find the coachable moments to make sure that they understand that they can always be improving. And if we've done that, we've helped them build that catalog of leadership. Ultimately, at the end of the day, hopefully we'll have all completed our parenting project successfully, and we'll have built a better version of ourselves. Thank you, guys.